something, Lord Jesus, starts to grow in each student here, Lord Jesus, that you plant something in their hearts, you plant a desire and a passion, God, to grow closer to you. And I pray, Lord, that you, again, bless the rest of this service, bless the fun that we'll have, God, and also bless the word that comes from Pastor Jared, God. I pray that you prepare all of us, Lord, in our minds and our hearts to hear from you tonight. Thank you, Lord.
All right, so we are starting a new series tonight. If you look behind me, you can kind of see the title. So, it's October, so it's the month where, there's a lot of stuff going on. And in church, there's a lot of mixed back and forth with stuff. I just wanted, with you guys being a new group, with us as new youth pastors, just hit some foundational stuff. And with it being, October, we decided to, call this series Spooky. So each week, we will be hitting a different aspect of kind of the spooky theme. And it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting. So, I want to start off with really quick, we're just going to do a quick introduction of all the stuff, right? All the, whatever it is, Halloween, magic stuff, it's all based around the central idea of kind of like magic or like witchcraft or like that kind of whole idea. And a real quick foundation of just kind of what it is. Like, what is that? Because we may not know, we may be like, I don't know, like, I don't understand magic. It's like the whole Harry Potter thing, or whichever version of it you know, or maybe you don't know.
Maybe you don't know.
So we're going to just, really quick, the whole idea behind it is control. So if you wonder like what the Bible says about it, you look and the Bible's pretty harsh about it, because the whole underlying idea of it is control. And the idea is that you're turning away from God, and rather than turning to God for what you need in guidance in life and help in situations and what you're going through, you're turning to an alternate source. So I was kind of looking it up, just kind of seeing like, what does the world kind of consider magic? And it was pretty much exactly what I was thinking is the alternate sources. They listed, it can be yourself, it can be like energies around. Basically you're getting, they call it energy from yourself, or they talk about, potions and spells and these other ideas. And the whole idea is literally just to go, okay, God is the creator, and He's our source for everything, but we're rebelling against that, so let's find another source and another way to try to connect to power other than God. And it even talked about how, a lot of like witches and people in witchcraft will even put like, they weren't called spells, they were called whatever, like protection type spells around their homes, their family, their cars, their pets. And I was like, that's so counterfeit. Like, how many of you here pray over your homes, your families, your pets, and the older you get and the more it does, and then when you become a parent, it's like obsessive. You're like praying over your kids every day. You're like, especially if an Oliver, you pray over him all day long, like, oh God, no blood today, please, him or someone else, like let him not, crack his head open again. Don't let him run. He keeps running into the corners lately. Constantly praying over stuff. So it's a counterfeit. It's where they're literally turning from God, and that's the reason the Bible's so harsh on it. So in a minute when we get into some of these scriptures, like, wow, man, God really doesn't, like, what's the big deal? Like, Harry's kind of cool. Like, he's a cool little kid. What's the big deal with all the magic stuff? That's the central idea. So just like if you go back to Genesis with Adam and Eve, and that sin, right? That was them turning from God. They had their own idea, their own way when they ate the fruit, and they're like, well, we want to gain knowledge outside of what God has said. They were tempted and fell into. It's the same way. So all throughout history, there's different ways. And so one of the reasons why I want to hit this one first this week is because it's so prevalent in our society now. And I'm not saying every single thing, like, I'm not trying to tell you here, like if I were to sit here and tell you, okay, here's what you can watch, here's what you can't watch, that would start to fall into the area of religion a little bit, where I'm starting to now have my opinions, and then I have certain things that I feel cross the line, where like I feel like I can tell you, certain things. I'm going to touch into a few things, tell a couple stories. So I'm not here, what I don't want you to do is to close down. I don't want you to say, well, he's already mentioned Harry Potter, and that's my favorite book series, or I love those movies, so I'm just not going to listen to anything he says. I'm going to look for a loophole from what he's talking about. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to tell you this is good. I'm not going to have a chart up there that's going to say like, okay, here's magical type stuff. You can do You can do Lord of the Rings, because that guy was Christian. You can do Chronicles of Narnia, that's Christian. Or you can't do, what's the series you do? You read, Lily? The Aharatos thing? Prince Warrior. You can do Prince Warrior. Look, guys, it's a modern day one. And then over here, you can't, like, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to try to warn you guys on a few things and then steer your hearts back to God, or steer our hearts to God. So, the occult, and occult is just another word for this stuff, like the paraphernalia type stuff, the occultic type stuff, is really slipping into just normal everyday stuff. When I was a kid, looking around for some of the, well, a few of you of my age, you guys remember Trolls? The little troll dolls? The little tiny, like, plastic with the hair?
Are those coming back yet?
Are they starting to come back a little bit? But those are controversial, because those were like, ooh, like occultic, witchcraft type stuff, and it's slipping into the church. And there was various degrees. Some people got crazy with it, and then other people, there was some legit stuff. There was some legitimacy to it, and there was also some, like, walk the line. That's why the Bible says work out your salvation with fear and trembling. There's certain things you have to be wise about, but at the same time, just because one person, so you got to be wise with that. But that was an example. That was just a little taste, but now there's so much. Like, if you go into the bookstore, you guys know there's entire stores that have just books in there, right? Yeah, because there's coffee, right? So you guys know because there's coffee there. Let's see, until recently, that was your only Starbucks fix. So it's like Barnes & Noble Cafe. You're like, yeah, there's those book things in the rest of the store. Like, it goes on for a long ways. I don't know. Oh, the bathrooms are back there. That's what it is. That's for, right? If you go into the young adult section, and I've been noticing this for years, that it is hard to find something in the young adult section that is not some sort of like witchcraft, magic, sorcery type based. And nowadays they're not even trying to, like when I was a kid, they tried to do, it was like, oh, it was good magic and white magic. Like, that's not even the case anymore. If you look at some of the titles, they're even like presenting and glorifying some of the negative sides of it. And like we were at the bookstore here, just down the road, and there's a whole end cap right by the teen section. They're not teen books, but they put it right by the teen section. That it's like the modern day witch or something like that. And it was like all kinds of books on how to actually try to, for you guys to pick up and learn how to live this way and learn how to like basically manipulate your friends and in the situations in life and stuff like that, and learn how to live the lifestyle. And it's really getting in everywhere. Stuff, I'm going to use this phrase a few times tonight. I won't do this all the time. But when I was a kid, there were certain things that were just no-nos. Like, they were scary. Like Ouija boards and tarot cards and stuff like that. Like, kids in my day didn't mess with that. Even most, like, non-Christian kids. Like, you didn't have, like, kids next door as neighbors who weren't Christians, never been to church. They even knew not to mess with that stuff. And there was always, if you got a group of like 10 kids, there was like that one kid who was like, oh yeah, my older brother, we had it and we were doing it, and then it was scary. And so like most people knew not to mess with that, but now it's changed, right? Now it's considered a game. It's no longer considered something that's necessarily bad. It's in the bookstore again. If you go to the game section, Ouija boards are considered, it's just a game. No big deal. It's just a fun game to play with, with the family or with your friends. And it's seeping in. We had a case one time where we had some students who knew a Ouija board was bad and would never mess with it, but were playing a video game, and in the video game they had to use a Ouija board. And that, for some reason, they thought was okay. And so the way it seeps in, it's so innocent, right? It seems so innocent. It's marketed as a game. It's marketed as fun. Even like the whole like tarot cards and palm reading, all this stuff is saturating. There was an app, I was playing a game on my phone the other day, and you can get like extra lives if you watch the ads for other apps. And I watch those, and I'm a sucker for them. I download almost every one. I don't even play them. I just download them, let them sit on my phone for a while. And then you can ask my kids, they're like, wow, there's like all these games on there. I'm like, yeah, I play one. It's just, I see the ad more like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, download that. And there was this one that looked kind of cool. It was like, it did something where it like showed your face. I think it was, you took a picture of your face. It didn't do the age thing, but it was something like that. And it like showed what, it was a morph or age or something like that. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I want to see what they think I'm going to look like. And it was like, oh, based on actual such and such, so and so, and it's like, oh, it's like a real version of that age act. Remember a while ago, you guys all look old. Everyone did that face swap or whatever it was, where everyone looked old on Facebook for a while. I'm like, cool, like a more scientific version of that. Yeah, I'm gonna download that. And as I'm gonna go and hit the button, it switches to the next feature, which was like palm reading and learning your lifeline. I'm like, whoa, that totally almost slipped in there under the radar. Like I almost didn't see that. What is going on? And so it can get in really easily. And you're like, what's the big deal? Like, okay, so what if I read a horoscope, or I have a friend who does the tarot card reading to give me some advice. Again, it comes back to the whole foundation, back you go to the beginning of the Bible when God created the heavens and the earth, and we're to turn to God for these kind of things.